Hi, this is Robert from Pioneer Smokehouses, and today we're going to do some smoked cheese with the modification that I did to the Masterbuilt 40-inch digital charcoal smoker. So basically, cold smoked cheese is a cold smoke process, and charcoal smoker just has no way of getting down to that temperature. So what we needed to do was find a way to introduce smoke into the chamber without introducing heat. And so what I did was I added a vent, and you can check that out on our last video, and I'll put a link in the description. But so first thing we need to do is we need to get this lit right away, because it's going to take a little while for this thing to get going. So what we have here is one of my favorite accessories, which is an amazing smoke tray. And I took and cut the end off of a haystack lighter and put it in here with it. That'll make it pretty much light itself. When you do that, those haystacks fall apart if you don't get them exactly perfect. So, you know, you might want to use that, you know, just take your time and light this thing. Another thing is to put a piece of paper in here. Last time I used a piece of scrap cardboard to hold the stuff in, but the scrap cardboard is hard to get lit, and so it's a lot better if you use a regular piece of white paper. So I'm going to light that. And so the paper lit, and then I put a little bit of fire on the side to get the haystack lit, and we're just going to let that go ahead and burn and get ready for us. By the time we're done, it should almost be burned down enough that we're ready to smoke. So if you notice here, I put it on a safe metal object, or you can do it on the side of a brick or something like that. Just make sure you keep it away from anything that might melt or that might catch on fire. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to oh, you know what? I almost forgot. The reason that we're here today is because we had a small little problem with some snow, and I'll put that picture up here. It looks like with a night of snow and then maybe a little bit of extra snow might have dropped onto the canvas, it pretty much collapsed and buried everything. So I was trying to wait for the snow to melt, and that didn't happen. I got the shovel out this morning and unburied it. I did unbury a little bit when it first happened to see how bad it was, but it's pretty much wiped out. But all the smokers are in good shape. Nothing got damaged in there. I might have bent the foot on one of the little mini grill that I use to start my charcoal in, but we're not going to worry too much about that because we can always do that on the driveway. So anyway, next we're going to talk about the cheese here that we're using today. So I buy the cheese in these pre-packaged little blocks, and I wait for them to go on sale, and then I buy a bunch of them. Today we're going to be doing a lot of Swiss. I don't do a lot of cheese because I'm pretty much the only one in my house that eats it. So when I'm having a party, that's great. I will take these and I will freeze these four right here, and after they're done curing, and then I will keep these two in the fridge and eat them. Swiss is probably my favorite smoked cheese now. It used to be a little different. I want to point out something that the like the Colby Jack mix, these things when they're smoked, they tend to get a little, they separate a little bit. I don't know how else to explain it. But when you go to cut it, sometimes it'll fall apart a little bit. So if you're really concerned about that, avoid mixes. My other favorite cheese besides Swiss is pepper jack. I'm not doing any pepper jack today because I still have two smoked in the fridge. But these Swiss I'm completely out of. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and open this up. So I already cut the end off here so to make it easier to open. And this is just a generic store brand. I find that as long as you're comfortable with your store brand, that it's not a problem because we're going to add so much flavor from the smoking process. Now I just go ahead and unwrap it and then set it on the tray like this. And you can see that I tried to space each one out by about a ½ an inch there. And I probably could have laid them all next to each other, but I want to make sure that I have plenty of air circulation. So the next thing that we'll do is we'll go ahead and just set this in there. Now Now I want to make an effort to point out that I have put all my cheese on a grill mat. This is going to be really convenient for sliding it in and out. Another thing is in case there's anything on the grill grates, which there is, this will protect the cheese from getting it on it. You do want to make sure that you clean the top of your smoker every so often. Clean it. So by wiping it down with hot water, or spray it with a little bit of apple cider vinegar and wipe it down with hot water. And then smoke it for a few minutes to make sure that that dries off and nothing falls from the top. So I take the cookie sheet, and you can see this is laying over the edge, and I'm going to spin the smoker here just a little bit so that way we can get that view with the other camera. And I'm going to set that in there. That view is kind of angled, but that's okay. And then I'm just going to slide it in right where I want it, and then make sure none of the cheese is touching. That front block of cheese moved just a little bit, but now let's get a little bit better look there. I guess the front block is still locked in place, and so I don't know if you can see that. There we go. So the cookie sheet, or the sheet pan, excuse me, has a lip on the regular side, which is great for juices and stuff. But for loading the smoker, I always use the back, or else you could use a generic brand cookie sheet with no lips, or like a Wilton pan. They have them like that too. So I'm just going to leave that there for now. And then I'm going to turn this back around. So it won't be a close-up, but you'll be able to see in there. I have removed one of the racks. I just wasn't planning on using it, and so I just didn't bother. And we'll go ahead and close that for now. Now, if you're not worried about temperature, you could just put the tray right in there, and I'll show you what I mean. You could just set it in here like this, but I would put a piece of tin foil or a cookie sheet in there on that tray to block any direct heat coming under the cheese. We are almost there with the pellets. I'm going to throw just a couple of them over here to where the fire is burning. Now, go ahead and shut this, and I'm going to make sure that that stays tight, so every so often as you use your smoker, your seals will get a little bit flatter each time, and so every so often you'll want to tighten it down just a little bit more, and over time that's how it will work out. So let's talk about the smoke tray for a second. It's just about there, and you can see it putting off smoke. That's a little less than I want, but we can fix that. We'll just add a little bit more flame. And it's got a hole here, which is what you shoot the flame in through when you're first lighting it. And that's why I put the piece of paper there, because it blocks it when I go to light it, and then it gets a good light. And then it burns through like this over time. The manufacturer says that a tray like this will last for 12 hours. I rarely get 12 hours out of them, but I also like them to be blasting smoke. Today we're using pecan, and I'll tell you what, these pellets are pecan, and it's really mild wood. I pretty much have a little saying, when in doubt, get the pecan out, because pecan goes with so many different foods, it's hard to lose. So always keep extra pecan, and when you run out, you're good. Something else that I like to do is, when I'm using the Traeger, is I like to start with a really strong wood, like mesquite pellets or even hickory pellets, and then switch after the first hour for a long smoke, because then it gets that smoke getting there, hitting it really hard, and then you put a milder pellet like either pecan or apple or cherry. So it looks like it's going good. I'm just going to show you this again. Fire that. And then let's take a look down here. You can see all those flames coming off of that. And the flames is a combination of the butane from the relay torch and the pellets burning. But that wouldn't happen like that if there wasn't charcoals. And you can see, you hold that to the camera for a second, you can still see it's burning really consistently, which is a great sign for getting a good light on it. So I'll turn this off. Now, we're pretty much done with getting that kind of stuff done. Now what we need to do is we need to get this setup taken care of. We will not be using the digital controls at all. If you have an external thermometer, that's fine. My next modification will be to add a thermometer right here. And because that's my preferred cooking location, I want to know what the temperature is right there. I don't care about anywhere else. Now, just going to turn this around a little bit. And then take a second here to adjust this camera. Last time we were working on this, we didn't get the view that I wanted. So I want to make sure that we get down here a little bit lower and get a better look at what I'm doing. So this is the modification that I did. You just have a right angle elbow, and then you have a, they call it a boot, and it goes on the floor for your register, but there's different sizes. This one is a 10-inch by 6-inch, which tends to fit these perfectly. But you could have different sizes, and you could also get one that was intended to use for a pellet smoker too, which is over there in that nightmare of fallen stuff. So what we're going to use today as our stand is just the charcoal lighter, the chimney. So we'll set the chimney down here, and then what we're going to do is put a brick on it. Now, if your chimney and the brick work out to where it fits perfectly, then you don't need to do anything extra. But I want to make sure that that gets completely in there. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this, and first thing I'm going to do is blow this out and make sure we're going good. That's how you know you have good charcoals, when you blow on it really hard and it relights. Okay, that looks really good. So I'm going to take this and feed it up in here. Now remember that the one corner is hot where you lit it. Now that is so close to good there. But I'm going to push it up a little bit higher. So now, if you can see here, the tray is completely up in there. And a little bit of smoke is coming out, but there's a reason why, and that's because there's more smoke coming out than the size of the hole in here. So now, we're going to go ahead and we're going to change the camera angle for a second here. We're not going to move the smoker anymore. We'll go ahead and open the smoker up and set the camera down here. And look at all that smoke coming out of there. Not sure if you can see that, but I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Smoke is just pouring out of that tray right into there. All right, so we'll go ahead and shut that. Now the nice thing is that when you're using a mild wood, it's really nice because you can let this go as long as you want. So I'm just gonna shoot for 6 hours here, and I would say for myself the minimum is 4 hours, but you can go as low as 2. It depends on how strong you want your cheese to be, and this goes for anything that if it's like something that will melt. And you could even do something like butter, but if you do something like butter, you're gonna want to make sure that you can keep it really cold, and for something like that you'll want to add ice to the smoker. So you can either put a block of ice on the very top shelf or a couple. I use frozen milk jugs, Or with this smoker and any light sheet metal smoker, you could put ice right on the outside and just pile it on top. Or you could pile, I don't know, snow. So anyway, we're just gonna let it run, and then we'll come back and see it in 6 hours. All right, here we are, and it's been about 5 hours, and I checked the cheese about an hour ago, and it looked like it was doing really good. And so I decided that this would be a real good time to pull it. So first thing I want you to do is I want you to take a look at the video over here. And I just want you to know that how much smoke is coming out here. And you can see clearly that it is just pouring out smoke. So then we'll come back over here and take a look, and I'm going to go ahead and open the cabinet. And watch this. Look at all that smoke come out. So the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and use the back of the cookie sheet like always. I left the tray up here. When it's burning really hot, that'll actually keep it warm, which is kind of nice when you have some food that you want to go in hot. But you want to leave it hanging off the edge just a little bit so the edges don't get too hot to handle. I'm going to go ahead and close this back down. It doesn't have to be closed, but one of the nice things about that is that it's going to keep the smoker well seasoned by burning off the rest of the pellets. I want you to just take a look at that. We have the Colby Jack here, we have the cheddar here, and then these four are the Swiss. And they look great, and so we're gonna touch them, and you can see that they're totally firm. They did sweat just a little bit, but they're not soft at all, and that's just because of the overall temperature. We got the temperature low enough outside that without adding heat to the smoker, we can really cover it really good. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a couple of pictures here, and here's a picture of the cheese in a Ziploc bag. I'm going to leave it sit like this for a week, and then what will happen is I will shrink wrap it. I'm going to shrink wrap one here just to show you what it'll look like. And then if you want to vacuum seal it, go ahead and vacuum seal it. I always shrink wrap it first, and then I vacuum seal it. So if you want to do both, that's fine. Or if you want to just do one, depends on how fast you're going to eat it. If it's going to be in a month, then you don't need to vacuum seal it. So 2 weeks resting in the refrigerator before you eat it, and then up to another 2 weeks in the refrigerator. But any longer than that, vacuum seal it and freeze it. If you vacuum seal it, you'll also get a little bit more time without freezing it. And I prefer the cheese without freezing it if I possibly can. That's why I smoke such small batches. So everything you see will be in the links below. The amazing smoke tray is just totally awesome. Those links are affiliate links, so if you use them, I will get compensated. Thank you. The grill mats, I just love these things. They are great, and when I'm done with this, it's going straight in the dishwasher. I don't even have to play with it. And then the smoker itself and the review will be the top link in the article, so that way, or in the show notes. So thanks for watching. I appreciate it.